Eddie Howe leaving Newcastle. He's had enough. What is going on? Breaking news here on Adam FC. Welcome along to the video, everybody. Reporting and talking on Eddie Howe leaving Newcastle with immediate effect. David Ornstein of The Athletic, Fabrizio Romano, Sky Sports. This is everywhere right now. What is going on at Newcastle? More to the point, what's the truth? Why is Eddie Howe leaving Newcastle? Because it's the manager that's leaving them. Talking only the other day, having no control, powers out of his hands and things going on at the football club that he had no control over. This is not the way that Eddie Howe was talking last summer. He was full of fight. He was full of determination to try and keep hold of his best players. And Newcastle getting good money for the players that were leaving the football club. But this summer, I think it has told, and I think Eddie Howe has had enough. That is my immediate opinion on this, looking at it from the outside. There is more to come, obviously, on this story, and it will develop throughout the day. And there is already talk of new managers coming in at Newcastle. It's crazy. What a story. I mean, to start with, we have to break down why this is happening, looking at everything that's gone on. Starting from last summer, Newcastle in the Champions League, the warning signs were there. Isak leaving for Liverpool. Newcastle then not spending the money wisely that they got for Isak, their best player. Then you look at what happened in season, then falling out of the Champions League, not even in Europe again. A bit of a disastrous season for Eddie Howe. Some fans booing in the stands, calling for his head, saying he'd already hit his ceiling. I myself have done videos, several of them, talking about Eddie Howe not being able to take Newcastle any further. And now this has happened. He was talking up staying at Newcastle, progressive season, work they were doing in the transfer window. I think this comes down to Newcastle selling players. We talked about Isak last summer, but to lose Anthony Gordon, to lose Sandro Tonali, to now be looking likely to lose Bruno Guimaraes. And it was Eddie Howe's words on the Bruno Guimaraes situation which really rang true for a lot of people. And people reporting on this, Eddie Howe has admitted that there are forces at play over Bruno Guimaraes and Arsenal, and conceded that neither Newcastle United nor Bruno are really in control of what happens next. Whoa, what is going on there? What's happening with the ownership? Because that's all Eddie Howe can be alluding to here. Newcastle United not in control of their player being sold. What is he talking about? This, I think, was Eddie Howe handing in his resignation. When you look at that, with everything else going on, everything else that was happening at Newcastle United, that can get forgotten about in conversation and in different interviews. Obviously, all anyone's talking about is the transfers. Everyone's talking about everything that's going on at Newcastle, the lack of activity and big players wanting out, what's going on behind the scenes. Like I said, the football has dropped off completely at Newcastle this year. And now with the soul of their side being ripped out, which it has been, especially if Bruno Guimaraes leaves, you'd have listened to Eddie Howe just talking, and it might have just passed you by, but listen to that back again. Eddie Howe has admitted that forces at play over Bruno Guimaraes and Arsenal, and conceded that neither Newcastle United nor Bruno are really in control of what happens next. Who is? Who is? I mean, seriously, it is embarrassing, this right now. And the powers and people running football clubs and what they're doing, I think is in play here big time. And you know what? In a way, I can't really blame Eddie Howe for lashing out and saying this. That and what he said there was him saying, get me out of here. Pay me out, sack me. He hasn't left here. He's made it impossible for the owners, the Saudi owners of Newcastle, to do anything else but move him on. And when you look already at what they're doing, the owners at Newcastle, when they're looking into new managers already, talks are ongoing, and there is already a name, Matthias Giselle, who is managing over in the Saudi Pro League at the moment, is now favourite to take over at Newcastle. Fabrizio Romano actually says he's the number one candidate to replace Eddie Howe. Deal close. Saudi ownership, manager from the Saudi Pro League. This stinks. And honestly, if I'm a Newcastle fan right now, I am scared about what is happening to my football club. They cannot control the money that Newcastle can spend. The financial fair play situation has taken a stranglehold of Newcastle. The warning signs were there when they were done by UEFA earlier on this summer, when they reported their financial profits and the profits that they had made. The majority of that was the naming rights to St. James's Park and the leasehold of St. James's Park being sold off to a sister company owned by the Saudi companies that own Newcastle United. And that's been pulled by UEFA and stripped away. Desperation is what we would say here. They were stung big time. In terms of the players, what does this mean though? Now, Bruno Guimaraes, I can't see staying at Newcastle now. I think that's the end of the day. If I'm a Newcastle player now and I'm seeing this guy come in, I'm going, I don't want part of this. Manchester United going for Lewis Hall. This takes on a new lease of life now, because Lewis Hall, when you're looking at this, his whole Newcastle time going to Newcastle, it was fed off Eddie Howe, bringing back the glory days to Newcastle, bringing them their first trophy, getting them back into Europe. It was around him, and now he's left. He's seen his captain leave. He's seen his best midfielder leave. He's seen Anthony Gordon leave. Why would you want to be part of Newcastle United right now? I cannot see anything other than some kind of structural change behind the scenes going on here as well at Newcastle. Maybe even a sale of Newcastle and different owners needing to come in, because there's nothing that the Saudi ownership can do to change the way that Newcastle are going right now. They're bringing players in, yes, but there is a big warning, red flag above Newcastle's name at the moment. And if I'm a club looking in at Newcastle, I'm going straight in there now and I'm picking out the best players. I expect a massive exodus from this. And I would, if I'm a Newcastle player, and just put yourself in the shoes of them players right now. The manager's gone. The captain already wanted out. So the best players are leaving every single summer now, it seems. Everything that Newcastle were dangerous with in terms of their players, the atmosphere, the crowd being behind this team. Well, the fans have given up after what happened last summer and the boos that rang out throughout St. James's Park all season. We all heard them listening into the games. And that's there for everyone to see. And then you're thinking, can they rebuild in the summer? And it's gone completely south for them. Everyone's left. I expect more to come. And as a United fan, I'm thinking right now, I feel sorry for Newcastle fans in a way, but I can only think of myself. I'm going right in for Lewis Hall right now. I think Eddie Howe knows that these players are all being sold on and there's not much more he can do. And he's made it impossible. There are forces in play. Ooh, that's a very, very, very aggressive line to take when it comes to talking about what's going on in the transfer window. That's a dig at the ownership. Eddie Howe wanted out and he's forced this ownership to boot him out, is how I see this situation. But for everybody else, I mean, get into the comment section, everyone. Who do you think would want to stay at Newcastle now? Imagine being Harvey Barnes, just signing that new contract, and then you're about to see the captain and the manager both leave. Whoa. There is a lot of work to do at Newcastle, and they are going to struggle to hold on to their players. Who leaves next? Bruno Guimaraes, Lewis Hall? Get into the comments below, everybody. Let me know what you think. Has Eddie Howe had enough? Is it time for change at Newcastle behind the scenes as well? Get in the comments. Give the video a like. Of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button here on Adam FC as well, bringing you all of the latest Premier League big news. Make sure you get your comments in on this, everyone. I'll speak to you all in the next video.